So, hi, this is Chris Howard. Welcome back, and welcome to Robert Allen. We're here in Los Angeles, and I've got the great thrill and pleasure to be here with Robert Allen, an icon in the field of personal professional development, and it's truly an honor. So, thanks for joining me.
You're rising star, though.
Oh,
so you're just doing incredible things, Chris.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of what you're doing.
Thank you. You've done so much, and I know that you're especially famous for the books that you've written, the multiple streams of income. What were some of the books? Because you know the
Nothing Down was the first one. Is How to Buy Real Estate with Little or No Money Down, Creating Wealth, Multiple Streams of Income, The 1 Minute Millionaire, those kinds of books.
Were most of those books co-authored, or did you do those?
I've only co-authored one. That was The 1 Minute Millionaire. I did that with Mark Victor Hansen, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. I'll be doing some co-autherings. I don't know, maybe you and I will work on something. It's fun to co-author. Actually, they always bring a new perspective. And then, frankly, it's kind of neat because then they have an audience that they talk to about the book they wrote, and then it sells the book that I wrote too. And then I have my audience, and so it's
good synergy.
It's great synergy. It works out great. But most of my books have been written by myself.
Written by yourself. Now you started, it was No Money Down was the first one.
Nothing Down.
Nothing Down. Right. Nothing Down. And how did that come about? What was the birth of that?
I graduated from school with my MBA, and I couldn't find a job.
That's probably not all that uncommon.
Yeah, really, it's true. It was devastating. I sent out 30 letters to the 30 great companies: General Foods, General Mills, General Motors, General Electric, literally. And generally everybody else I could think of. And I got 30 rejection letters from every single one of them. And it devastated me until one day I just woke up like an entrepreneur does, and they said, wait a second, who are these people? How dare they reject me? I'm better than that. One day I'll make more money than all the people who signed those letters combined. And I turned it into rocket fuel. I said, I'm going to go create some wealth, right? And so I found a mentor, multimillionaire in real estate, and he worked with me for 6 months.
Who was that?
His name is Paul Jukes. You've never heard of him, I doubt. He Thousand Oaks and Camarillo around LA. He's built apartment buildings and was part of my church group, and I admired him. He was a good guy. When people think of millionaires, they think, not good. They've done something evil, and behind every great fortune is a great crime,
right? As
they say, right? But he was a good guy, and I thought, I want to be like him. I want to be a good guy, and then I also want to be rich too.
Did you meet him through your church group? Is that
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and because since I couldn't find a job, the next best thing was to go to him and say, and the real secret to really getting to work with a mentor is find out what their project is. See, every mentor is busy with projects, and they've got projects that are 1, 2, 3, and they need help. They want somebody to help them. And if they can't find that somebody to help them, then these projects don't happen. So you come to them and you ask them, what is your 3 major projects? And then you say to them, let me work on those projects for you.
Interesting. I've never heard that before.
It's backwards. See, everybody begs, oh, please help me. I got this project.
Right. Won't you mentor me?
Mentor me.
Yeah.
They don't want that. Yeah. Mentors, they say, well, I got projects, work on my deal, and if you work on my deal, quid pro quo. I'll scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So I scratched his back, and I worked with him, and then he mentored me, and I'd bring my deals to him, and he'd say, do this.
It's kind of like an apprenticeship.
Totally, totally. And that's the way it works with me today. If somebody really wants to get to me, they find what really is valuable to me, and then they just stick with it and to help me get that, and then it gets to the point where I have to help them. When you get to the top, dog helps dog. It's not dog eat dog. It's dog help dog. Dog help dog. And so.
In what capacity did you help him when you were?
Well, he had a real estate project in southern Utah. A project he developed was recreational lots, mountain views and streams and things like that, and he was having a hard time selling it. It was tough economic times, and he just said, you help me sell these lots, and I'll help you. Well, I didn't know how to sell lots. I mean, I'd never been trained to do that. And so I just, figured it out, and
Did you know anything about real estate at that time? Or was
no, zero, nothing. My first property I bought because of him. It was a little duplex right close to the Brigham Young University campus, and I came to him and I said, what do you think? Should I buy this? And he says, I'd rather see a crooked furrow than a field unplowed. Meaning, go do it, And so I bought that one, and it was because of his little mentoring, and then off I went, You know, sometimes it just takes that first one.
And was it no money down that first deal you did?
No, it was it was $1,500 down, which is everything I had in the world, and I had balloon payments. In 2 months, $1,000, another 2 months, $1,000, and then monthly payments thereafter for the rest of the guy's equity. And I didn't know where the $2,000 was going to come from. I just had this hunch, just figure it out, you know. And so, by the time the balloon came due, I had flipped it to somebody else, and they paid the balloon.
Interesting.
So that's how I got started.
So that was the beginning of it. And then, at what point did you decide to write the book?
Well, I made my first million in real estate, and I like to buy real estate, but I don't like to manage it, you know? It's like fishing. I like to catch them, but I don't like to clean them.
Now, when you said you made your first million, did you have $1 million in the bank at that point, or was
Equities.
it just $1 million in equity?
Equity, yeah. So I still didn't have a lot of cash or cash flow. When you have a lot of equity, sometimes you don't have a lot.
Isn't that interesting? You could have your first million and
Yeah.
not have a lot of cash flow.
Exactly.
That's not uncommon either, is
Totally
it?
not.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very common. But what happened is I'm driving between Provo and Salt Lake City, and this voice, it's time to write your book now. Now, I was in Stephen Covey's class, and I was his student assistant at one of his classes, and he was a goal setter. You know, he'd make us write our goals down, and one of my goals, to write a book. Where did that come from? I don't know. To go scuba diving, to go parachuting, you know, all these crazy goals when we were young. And that write a book one, you know, it's time to write your book now. What shall I call it? You call it Nothing Down. I mean, it was almost like that clear. And so I went in and I quit I was selling real estate as an investment consultant, counselor, whatever, and making pretty good money. And I walked into my boss and I said, I will never collect another commission again. I'm going to go write a book, which was about the dumbest, naive thing.
Right, yeah.
Because how long does it take? Really?
Yeah.
How long does it take to get an idea from a book to actually publishing? It was going to take another 2 years. I didn't know that, but my intuition says, quit now. So I went to Hawaii on our anniversary. We were married for a year, and we had a little baby girl.
Let me ask you a question now. Would you have done it any other way in retrospect?
No.
It's the same thing I always say, because I jumped into I remember I was doing personal training, and I gave away all my clients, and I said, now I'm going to go into this field.
Yeah, right.
All of a sudden, it's like, oh, no money coming in, but I wouldn't have done it any other way, and I went through some hard times as a result of it, and it sounds like probably you did too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, and you had a little girl about this time.
Yep, and I pounded away on the inside the beach home when they were out on the beach, and I come back with a manuscript, and I found somebody who had a New York Times bestseller in the same church group. I'm LDS, and she had a New York Times bestseller, and I went to her. I said, Diane, what should I do? And she said, well, we'll go to the book expo, and back then it was called American Booksellers, ABA is what it was called. So we went to Atlanta, and I showed my manuscript to publishers, and one of them liked it, and as I say, the rest is history.
I grew up in the same church, by the way.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
Cool. So the mentoring is really very valuable. Sometimes, like for her, like Diane, she said she took me to a place I could never have figured out by myself. I would have read a book on writing a book, and I would have sent the manuscripts to the publishers, and I never would have been seen. But I took it to the president of Simon & Schuster, who then took it to the editor of Real Estate Books.
So you took it personally?
I took it.
How'd you manage that?
Well, at the book expo, the president.
Oh, the book expo.
The
so
book
you got in
expo is
there.
theirs. You know, you can go by saying you're, you know, it says, are you a prospective bookseller, bookstore owner? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I am, which I am.
Perspective everything.
Remember
Right?
perspective. So,
yeah.
I got into the convention, and
you went straight to the
it's
top.
like shooting fish in a barrel. It's like these publishers, they got their manager, their editors, and their direct marketing people, and all the top people are at the book expo.
Why doesn't everybody go there? Why? They just don't know, I guess.
They just don't know. But I take people. I took a group of people this last book expo, and I show them how to fish in a barrel. It's easy, and we got people who got their book contracts done, and it's kind of like one of the things I like to do. I like to show people what I did.
And what publishing house did you go with the first time?
Simon & Schuster.
Simon & Schuster, that was it.
Random House, Wiley. Those are my three.
Yeah, I published Wiley was my publisher.
Wiley is, and I still have books with all three, and I like them all three. And books are fun. I like to write books. Like I said, I'd rather fix up a human being than a piece of real estate any day. What was powerful about a book is you now can multiply yourself in hundreds of thousands of ways, and And when a book changes somebody's life, it doesn't just change that life, it changes the ecosystem around that person. It changes their family, it changes their environment, you know. So you don't transform a life, you transform a generation of lives. And I've had people, you know, who've now come to me with their kids, and they're training their kids this way, and you know, it's very,
so
very
now
powerful.
you've become an educator, and is education where you make most of your money now, or is it are you still doing real estate, or are you still doing?
I do multiple streams of income.
Multiple streams of income. So.
Yeah. Do I do most of my stuff in the trainings? Yes, I do. You only have so much energy.
Right.
It's like, would I rather invest my energy to write another book, or to go buy this corner of real estate? You know, it's like, you know, when I'm gone, who's going to care about this corner of real estate? So what?
So from a legacy perspective.
From a legacy, I want the books, and this part, it's you learn so much when you write, you know.
Now you speak with a lot of pride about the books themselves. I know you have a complete education company where you teach seminars, you have different trainings.
Right.
What's closer to your heart? Is it the books? Is it the seminars, the trainings? Is there one or?
Well, in one of my books, The Multiple Streams of Income, I talk about infopreneuring, okay, and that's the funnel, which you understand very well, very, very well, by the way. The top of the funnel is the inexpensive stuff. It's the people who can't afford any other way. They read a book and maybe they get their information from the library where they check it out and it doesn't cost them any money, you know. I don't care how they get it. And then there's a certain percentage of those people say, I want more. I want, you know, how about that tape set or that study course you got? I'd like a little bit more, the DVD. And then you'll find a few people say, yeah, you know, I really want to go to a seminar. I want to spend 2 or 3 days with that guy, you know, or that gal, whoever it is. And they'll spend, you know, $3,000-$4,000 to come, and it's more expensive. But the deeper you go in the funnel, it's more experiential, you know. Top of the funnel is very informational oriented. The deeper is more experience, and it's more expensive because your time is more valuable. So you pay more to get to work closely. The bottom of the funnel is what we call our mastery program, where we don't just talk about real estate. We go with you into the city and buy the property and show you exactly, you know, you buy it, you know, instead of learning how, you do it.
You get your handheld,
exactly,
taken through the process. Now, didn't you put out a challenge early on? Wasn't there a challenge you put out that kind of set you apart from a lot of other people? I seem to remember you'd say you were going to go out and take somebody who had never done it before, or had there been many challenges along the way?
My first challenge was send me to any city, take away my wallet, give me a $100 bill.
That was it, yeah.
And in 72 hours, I'll buy an excellent piece of real estate using none of my own money. So
now, wait a second. So take away your wallet. You've got nothing but a what?
$100 bill.
$100 bill, a city, any place, and within 72 hours, you'd have a piece of property.
How that came about was my editor called me and said, we're running an ad in the Wall Street Journal for your new book, Nothing Down. And he read the ad to me, and I could tell, even not as an expert in ads, that it was a terrible ad. And I said, no, you got to demonstrate this. Like he said, what do you mean? I said, well, you got to go to send me to a city and take away my wallet and give me $100 and I'll buy an excellent piece of real estate using none of my own money. He said, can you do that? And I thought about it for a minute. I thought,
can I do that?
Of course, we're on the phone and he can't see my reaction.
Right.
I'm going, sure. He says, well, if you can do that, we'll run a full page ad on that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, uh-oh. So he runs a full page ad and it is gangbusters.
Oh my gosh.
People just love that ad and the books are just flying off the shelves.
And what was going through your mind?
I think, oh, nobody ever challenges me. I'm going to be in deep caca, you know? And the LA Times calls me and said, we've been running an ad in our LA Times and we think you're a fraud and you put up or shut up. So we're here by LAX right now. It was at the Marriott Hotel just down the street that I met the LA Times reporter, and he took me to the airport, gave me a ticket to San Francisco, flew me to San Francisco, says, put up or shut up. Because I'm here as a reporter, if you fail, you are going to be destroyed. You're in deep, deep trouble. And I bought 7 properties in 57 hours and gave him $20 back in change. Did I know I could do that? No. I didn't know it here. I knew it here, and I pulled it off, as they say.
7 properties.
7, yeah. And then
And you only said 1 before.
I said 1.
Yeah.
When we got 1 done, I thought to myself, which is a better story? In fact, I said to the reporter, since we now had 1 and he'd lost, which would you rather have? To stop now, or should we have a better story? Is it better if we have more? He says, let's go for more. Now he's on my side. Let's start looking for deals together. Try to get more.
How did you do it? How did you get 7 properties?
Well, it's the theory is the same today. In fact, it's better today because it's that 99% of all the people are very restricted. They don't want to sell with any. They want price. They want their price. They want their terms. They got another house bought, but 1%, and it widens depending on the marketplace. 1% are highly motivated. They don't want that property. Maybe they inherited it. They could care less about it. Give me anything. And the 2 of the properties I bought were free and clear houses I bought in Sacramento from an exchanger. An exchanger is a person who exchanges, mobile home parks for apartment buildings for raw land, and they don't care, And he ended up with 2 houses that he had traded out of like a mobile home park to get these 2 free and clear houses, and it was like nothing to him. It was 2 free and clear houses, and he sold them to me with nothing down, and he took monthly payments coming in on both of those houses. I bought those houses sight unseen. I never saw those houses.
And you didn't care at that point. You just wanted to win.
I didn't care, and so it's who you call. How
did you find those? How did you sort through everything to?
Well, there are 9 ways of finding highly motivated sellers. You want me to go into my pitch? You run your own ad. You look at ads in the newspaper. On the plane flying from here to San Francisco, I'm circling ads. I'm teaching them, the LA Times reporter, look at this clue right here. It says nothing down. Isn't that a real hard clue? I have a property, I'll sell this house to you with nothing down. I bought that one. I circled that one. I called that one and left a message, and then I got no response. I got no response. And then, at 10 o'clock that night, that first night we were there, we had to find a place. We were only there for $100. I had to find a place in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco, which is a place you don't want to go. The room was $34 that night, and he and I shared a room. 2 single guys. No, I was married in San Francisco.
This story doesn't get more interesting.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. But he and I were sleeping in the same room in twin beds, so he could monitor that I was on the up and up. But that night at 10:10 was when he called. The guy had the ad in the paper and said, "I got a gorgeous property. It was in the Diamond Heights district of San Francisco. He just fixed it up. It was gorgeous. He had fixed it up and refinanced it and pulled his money out, his profit out. So now when he sells it to somebody else, he didn't care. He was just going to take a note, which he took from me. He took a $21,000 second, a $6,000 third, and a $6,000 fourth. I gave him 3 mortgages. And he sold the $21,000 second for $15,000 in cash. And I made the monthly payments on that note. He kept the $6,000 third, and he gave the $6,000 fourth to the guy who helped him fix it up. So it was a creative deal of nothing down technique, powerful technique that I learned from him doing that challenge. I didn't even know it, see? So there's 50 nothing down techniques. You only need a few. Now in a marketplace we have today, my gosh, it's so easy to buy real estate. The question is, do you want to? Well, yeah, you have to be real careful, but there are 50 cents on the dollar deals all over the place. It's incredible.
Now, do you have a lot of real estate today? Is that where a lot of your wealth is centered?
I have commercial real estate. I have residential properties, a lot of businesses. I have, in my book, Multiple Streams of Income, I talk about 10 ways of making residual income, money while you sleep, and I do all 10 of those ways.
And now, you talk about multiple streams, and it's, what's important? Is it important that somebody have multiple streams first?
Absolutely.
And why is that so important?
Because right now what we're going through, if you were a real estate guy or gal, and your deal was to do flipping for cash, there's nobody to flip to. Nobody wants them. So you're dead. You either have to change your real estate strategy, or maybe you're doing information marketing online and an option strategy in the stock market. In other words, when the market changes, usually one of the streams you have is hot, while the other one is cooled. So you're always hot at something. It's called diversification, right? You're diversifying your streams of income.
And I like I heard you talking earlier about having one place where you're going to kind of major your focus, the number one area, and then having a secondary area.
Yeah, major and a minor. Yep.
And what's so important about that? That you have a major, that you have the...
Well, because when you have multiple streams of income, people do get confused. They go, no, first of all, they're thinking, well, how do I get started on this one? And now you're teaching me 4 others.
So they could find themselves a little bit dispersed too soon.
Overwhelmed is what they are. So I tell them to focus on one and do that one, and then have a minor, which is their auditing class, with the one they're just learning about. It's kind of like in the wings, you know. They're ready to pounce when times are right. So you get one going. It's like spinning the plates, you know. You get a plate, you get it spinning, and then you start another plate, and you spin that one, and you start on that one. By the time you get the third one spinning, this one's wobbling, so you got to get that one checked up. And
so you'd suggest that somebody become really good at one thing, and then allow that success to...
Yeah. Okay, so you're a businessman, and you've got multiple streams of income. By doing one stream, which is slightly different than the other one, doesn't it make you better in your other business?
For sure.
Yeah. So in other words, by having a broader understanding of different kinds of businesses, that makes all of your businesses better.
Right. I personally, I place most of my focus in business. That's what I like. But I certainly do diversify within business. I have different types of businesses.
Right.
It's fascinating. Now, there was a book that you co-authored, and you did it with Mark Victor Hansen,
right.
And that was, what was that called?
That's 1 Minute Millionaire and Cracking the Millionaire Code. We have 2, and then we're coming out with a new one. Sequel to the 1 Minute Millionaire will come out next year.
Really, and what brought that about? That was.
Well, Mark and I have kind of known each other for many years, and I would go to a party he held. He has one huge party he does every year, and I'd come and.
How'd that relationship first form? Was it through the party?
Well, he kind of knew. He knew of my success, and I knew of his success. And then one year, like it was 1990, I think, I hired him to speak at an event I was holding down in San Diego, and paid him a speaking fee, and we kind of got friends, and I watched him speak, and he was just hilarious, and he was fun.
He's a
great
speaker.
He was incredible, and I just loved the guy, and we became friends with him. From time to time, he'd call and check on me, and then I'd come to his party, and then he said, "What book you writing lately?" I said, "I'm thinking about this book called 1 Minute Millionaire," and he said, "Great title. I'll write the foreword for it." Right. So the next year, "Has he written your book yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't got started yet." And he said, "Great title. I'll write the foreword for it." So I finally said, "Well, why don't you write it?" He said, "I can't because I got this contract with my publisher." So I said, "Well, my intuition is screaming at me." And so one day I called his secretary and I said, "Where's he flying next?" "He's flying to Vancouver." "Oh, what seat's he in?" "3F." So I called and bought 3G. True story. And showed up at the airport. "Oh, Bob, how you doing? Where are you going?" "I'm going to Vancouver." "Oh, me too." "Really?"
Did you tell him you had set it up at that point?
Well, I can't remember. He knows now.
Yeah.
He knows now. So we fly to Vancouver, and I said, "We really got to do this book." And he says, "I can't do a book." I said, "Well, what can you do?"
Was it at this point, had he already done the Chicken Soup book?
Oh, yeah. Chicken Soup was
so
huge.
He had sold
Chicken Soup was huge. Yeah,
hundreds of millions or whatever it was.
He was probably at that point, he's probably at 70 or 80 million.
Yeah.
And he said, "I can't do a book." I said, "Well, what can you do?" He says, "I can do a movie." So let's do a movie. So boom, shifted immediately. "Okay, we'll do a movie. Big deal." So
that's kind of Mark's style too, isn't it? It's always next idea. Yeah.
So by the time we're in Vancouver, we have the story of exactly what we're going to do as a movie, and we really go to the store and buy Final Draft, which is the creative or the software for creating a screenplay. And he starts writing, and I start writing, and we come together. And we're writing a movie, And we show up at our agent's. Jillian Manis is our agent, and she says, "Boys, you can't do a movie. You got to have a book. And then a book, you can sell the movie, And by this time, he'd had a little breakage with his publisher, and he knew that he would be able to have that relationship cleaned up better.
Yeah, there weren't the ties that
exactly.
there were before. Yeah.
And so he says, "Okay, we'll do a book." So if you don't reach your goal, then go around the other way. And so let's do a book. And then Jillian went to New York, and we got well over $1 million, and so it's worth writing a book for $1 million.
Advance? You got $1 million advance?
$1.3 million in advance, and
was that the biggest advance you had gotten up at?
Yeah, my biggest advance up to that point had been $500,000 for me
for you
personally.
What was the smallest advance you got?
My first book, I got $7,500 for nothing down, and then I've never written a book for.
Well, times have changed. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. So we've written 2 and now 3 books. We don't write for less than $1 million a book, but that's my relationship with Mark. He's awesome. He's the biggest thinking, kindest, goodest giver. Goodest, how about that for a word? He's the greatest giver I know. And he's absolutely helped me figure that out. You know, he's just, when you go with him, he's talking to everybody and say, give me your card, I'll send you a book, you know, and he's a giver.
You guys have a close personal relationship other than the writing now at this point?
Yeah, very, very close. He's a great guy.
Huh. So what's next for you? What do you see as the next big thing for you in terms of life direction or business direction?
Well, I'm shooting a new infomercial. I'm trying to research the quick cash options. There's in entrepreneurship, there's a bullseye, and entrepreneurs have this bullseye that they're aiming. They want to earn profit, and they want to do something. The product they create, or the information, or the service that they provide, has got to make the world a better place, and they're going to profit from that. So some of these businesses will take 5 to 10 years to get to break even, and so that's the wide part of the bullseye. More profit, bigger, longer, harder, you know, that's the bigger part of the bullseye. As you narrow in on the bullseye to the 6-year, 5-year, 4-year time frame, smaller profits, little easier. We've been doing 90-day windows, and a lot of our challenges we do 90 days. How much money can we earn in 90 days? I want to narrow that window down to 6 weeks now.
So you're still doing the challenges?
Oh, yeah. This next weekend we're going to film selecting people with the goal in 6 weeks, how much profit can they earn, not only from just real estate, but flipping everything. Everything you seek is flippable, everything. Because it's just like there's don't wanters in real estate, highly motivated sellers, there are highly motivated owners of everything. And so how do you find them? And how do you tie at that with $1? And how do you flip that to somebody who wants it?
And are there set methods that can find it across contexts?
Yes, of course.
Really?
And so this next weekend, there'll be 200 people there, and they've committed that they're going to give 6 weeks, and then for 6 weeks they're just going to rip this town apart.
And you're filming this for an infomercial?
Totally.
Now this is not your first infomercial. You've done...
The very first infomercial in America was my infomercial.
Really?
Yeah, in early 80s.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh, and was that a profitable venture back then?
Oh, absolutely. It was. So nobody had them. See, the FCC wouldn't let you have a 30-minute commercial. So we did a content, and then we put our own commercials in our own content, which no one had done before. You had to get a letter from the FCC to let us do it, and we showed that first one in Chicago, and there were so many people who showed up at the seminar that it blocked the freeway going to O'Hare, and hundreds of people missed their planes.
Was the infomercial specifically for a seminar, or was there a product that was involved?
It was a free event.
A free event?
Like similar like we do today.
Yeah, I've seen some.
Free event. Come to the free event. We'll teach you great information, and a few of you want to go a little further, we offer a program for you. So,
boy, that seems like a really high-end lead generator in terms of from a revenue perspective, or not from a revenue perspective, but in terms of money going out. It's a high cost.
Absolutely. It costs
generator.
us, those free seminars that people come to and don't pay any money to come to, it costs us, still to this day, costs us $200-300
per
person.
Wow.
To have them sit in that free room. They think it's free, but it's not been free to us.
Right.
It's been marketing, televisions, full page ads, direct mail, email blasts, to put those people in that room on that particular day.
Now you do this across multiple cities and different places. And how many people do you have in your average room from all these different various
It depends on the city and the time of year. You know, usually we'll do 2 events a day. We'll do at 1 o'clock and then 6 or 7 o'clock, and 1 o'clock, 6 or 7, then at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So we'll do 5 or 6 previews in that week, and then it'll follow the week following. They'll come to a 3-day weekend event. And then it's a year-long mentoring program.
So you've got multiple previews that lead into the 3 days. So the 3 days obviously larger because they're coming from different territories. How large are the 3 days typically?
They're 100, 200, 300 people. And we do that in 2 cities to 4 cities a week.
And then you have a larger event. You said that
Uh-huh.
all those
Yep.
yeah, flow into.
Yep.
And that, how big is that large event?
Well, we have 1,000 to 2,000 people show up those 3 or 4 times a year.
It really feels like to me that it's worthwhile education when you look at you know what all the things that are out there in terms of the things that people can choose between. Making money, I mean, you're healing one of the greatest pains that people have in their lives.
Right.
So it's admirable, and it makes sense that you'd have the numbers and the quality, and that you also be rewarded in the way that you're rewarded.
Well, we're the only guys out there standing right now. It's a tough business. And you know,
it is, yeah.
Very
It's
tough.
very cost.
I had a compatriot that had a huge event that they were planning, full page ads, big speakers, lots of budget. And usually they get 2 or 3, 4,000 people show up.
I can probably
at one of these
imagine
events.
who you're talking
Yeah.
about, or get it within
And
5.
what happened here in LA where they had the Northridge earthquake on that Sunday morning, and I remember it, down in San Diego, we felt it. And then up here in Northridge, or whatever, North something, there was an earthquake, and guess how many people showed up at the event that day? 0. You know, and after you spent $60,000, $80,000 and nobody shows up, that
Right.
money is just gone. See, so it seems like people go to seminars like we teach, and they count up, and wow, how many people got?
Oh, they must be making tons of, yeah.
They're making millions on this thing, but they don't realize that it's extremely difficult.
I know my last event in London would cost us $500,000 out the door before we'd made a
Exactly.
dime. So that's interesting. And then so the ability to have something that is long lasting and has stayed and weathered the tests of time, such as what you've got, shows a lot.
Yeah, it's going on our 30th year.
30 years, wow.
30 years, yeah.
What are some of the greatest success stories that you've had that you're really proud of in that time?
2 on both coasts. One was in New York and one was in San Francisco. And the San Francisco one is a guy comes and he's sitting on the front row, and we're marketing like a $500 seminar that weekend, and he comes up and he has the most horrible stutter. He literally can't get out a sentence. I cannot understand a word he's saying, and he signs up. And I feel so guilty. You're like, oh, I'm taking this guy's money. This is not well. What can I say? You know, if he wants to do it, then we'll let him go. So I come back like 6 months later into one of these other previews, and he's there, and I'm thinking, oh no, you know, he's coming. He wants his money back or something, you know. And he's there, and he can't speak, and he writes it out. You know, I bought 6 properties, and thank you very much. You changed my life. You know, and I had the same experience happen in New York City, and a guy comes in, the same thing. He can't talk. And he hands me, he says, read this, you know. And he'd bought like 16 properties in upstate New York, and he just said, change my life, you know. And it's those stories that really stand out for you, you know. And I got hundreds and hundreds of stories like that.
That's, I guess, with 30 years of experience in the field, yeah, because I know that's got to be rewarding to hear those types of things, but it's, you know, it's what you do.
People always ask me, you know, why don't I just quit? Well, you do what you're born to do, right? So does Julio Iglesias want to quit? Does he want to stop singing so he can go, what? Go do what? You know?
I mean, because you could quit today. You could
totally.
retire today, could you not?
I'm done.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I live to do this, and so do you. You can't, you know, somebody say, well, let's go to retire. You can't imagine yourself retiring.
Oh, never, ever.
No, you're not going to, because you're here to sing a song. This is what our purpose in life is. And people don't understand that. They think, you know, we're out there trying to make more money, you know. So we can do what? Why don't you just, no, you do what you're born to do. This is my purpose in life. And purpose is doing what you love to do, doing what you're good at, doing what's important to you, doing what's part of your destiny. And when you wrap those together, that's who I am. That's what I do. You know. So today you saw me speak. You know, that's what I do. I'm not afraid of it. I enjoy it, and
you're very good at it too. What are you most proud about in your life?
Well, obviously, besides family, I've got 3 wonderful children and a great 31-year marriage to an incredible woman that I love more every day. What can what can you have more than that, you know? I'm happy that I wrote some books. I'm happy for that. Probably most proud about the fact that at the bottom of the bankruptcy that wiped me out, I heard the voice that said, you know, you're going to come back. You can pull out of this.
You had another challenging time too. Didn't you have a car accident or something?
Yeah, the car accident that happened 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
And this car right there, that's
I didn't even see it.
The rear view mirror scalped me right there.
Wow.
It's those dips that I'm proud about. The bankruptcy was horrible, terrible, awful, wonderful, incredible.
How do you come back after something like that? I mean, what is it that makes you get back up?
It goes back to purpose. I didn't know that. Back in the 80s, I was making money. Then I lost it all. Now when you have nothing left, it's the greatest gift. Because then, see, when you have stuff, you don't want to risk it to do what you really want to do, what you're born to do, because I'd have to risk that. But when you've lost everything, you have this most amazing freedom, because you now can say, well, if I'm ever going to create and come back, since I have nothing and have all this debt, then I'm going to do what I was born to do. I'm going to do what I want to do if I'm going to create something. So from the bottom of that, we said, okay, I didn't like the seminars before. It was too money oriented, and it was, you know, get more rich, and it was, I didn't like it. And so I said, I'm never going to do that again. You know, and my partner Tom Painter came down to our home where I was in Southern California, kind of licking my wounds, and I said, I don't want to do that again. It's just get rich quick. And he says, well, then what would you teach? And I said, well, if I'm going to teach, I'd have to put higher power in there. Well, why don't you? I said, well, they won't like it. Well, why do you care? Okay, well, I'd have to put that in there, and I'd have to talk more about, you know, and I started laying out the fundamental beliefs that I have.
Yeah, I got to share with you something, because my group, I just had several people come up to me, and they say, we love this event, we love what you're doing. It was right after you spoke. They said, we love this event, we love what you're doing, because it's not what everybody else out there is doing. They said, because there seems to be warmth and heart and sincerity and spirit to it.
Yeah.
So,
well, so as I had nothing, I said, if I'm ever going to do this again, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say the truth. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to say what I believe. If you don't like what I believe, then that's okay. Before I lost it all, I was afraid of what people thought. I would hold back, and then of course when you lose it all, you go, man, if I'm going to make it back, I'll make it back my way. I'll say what I believe, and I'll attract. I get to attract the people that I was destined to attract, and I get to sing my song to them because they like that song. See, before I wouldn't sing the song I was born to sing. So
there's some magic in that.
Totally. And today I just say it like I believe, and they resonate with that because it's true. It's what I truly believe. You know, and if they don't agree with me, that's okay.
What do you think about the people that sell themselves short in life or sell out in life and don't sing their song or don't do what they're born to do? What do you think what advice could you give to them?
Well, as I was talking about today, you have a critical voice that talks you out of everything. Everybody does. This critical voice is really very insidious. The true voice, and we all have a true voice, the true voice that just whispers to you and you just know it. And most of the time this critical voice talks you out of things. They'll say, don't do that. Nah, you don't want to do that. That's too hard. And then when you don't do it, it beats you up for not having done it. So it gets you coming and going. And what I try to tell people is to turn that critical voice off and learn how to listen to your true voice. And then your true voice just nudges you, leads you in the right directions, which is where you're supposed to be. You know, follow that heart, follow your intuition, your hunches, and then they'll get where they're supposed to be. You know, and they will. But the fear is expensive, and it's too expensive. I say to them, if you had $100 deducted from your bank account every time you had a negative thought, and you went to work and you had 65 negative thoughts that day, and you came home and there was $6,500 taken out of your bank account, or it went negative that much, how quickly would you learn how expensive negative thoughts are? You know, you'd change your thinking immediately. You'd say, oh, darn it, these negative thoughts, ching, $100 goes out of your bank account. You know, I'd say, well, I can do it. Ching, the money comes back in. You learn how to think more positive.
Do you have negative thoughts that come up sometimes?
Trying to remember.
Well, that's a good place to be.
Sure, of course I do. Of course I do. You bet. But I catch it now. I'm able to catch it. You know, and the way you catch it is you notice how you feel. If you feel bad about something, you feel depressed or discouraged or whatever, it usually is becoming as a result of a thought you just thought, and usually probably a negative voice that said that was a dumb thing to do, and then you go, yeah, you thought, yeah, that's right. And then you feel bad about it, so you notice the feeling, and you say, what was the source of that feeling? Oh, it's just what I just said. Is that me saying that? No, it was that critical voice. Is a critical voice you? No, it's not you. Don't listen to that critical voice.
What's the purpose of money for you? What would you say the purpose of money is?
My greatest joy is to give the first 10% away as fast as I can. Then the rest of it I don't care about. I don't care.
So you do what you do for the love of the passion?
I do what I do because, yeah, it's just what I do. It's what I love to do.
Reminds me of a quote from Walt Disney. He said, "We don't make movies to make money. We make money to make movies." And
oh, cool! I like that. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. It's just a way to keep score. But you know, I love to teach. I love to teach. You know, that's what I do. So somebody called me the other day and wanted to hire me as a keynote speaker, which is usually about a 45-minute, you know, chitter, fun little light thing. I'm not very good at that. You know, I need 3 hours. I need 2 hours. I need half a day. I need to gather some time to teach. That's what I like to do. The entertaining half hour, 2 hour, no, I'm not that guy.
Well, very good. Well, how do people get a ode of you or find out more about you? Is there a website or?
MultipleStreamsOfIncome.com, RobertAllen.com, CrackingTheMillionaireCode.com. MultipleStreamsOfIncome.com is probably the best one to go to.
How do you not get a hold of Robert Allen?
Yeah.
I mean, he's all over the place.
Yeah, just you know, Google us if you want to, but MultipleStreamsOfIncome.com will get you there. Let us give you some free stuff, free conference calls. Check us out. I think you'll like it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.